Hi, I'm Swampy. Look, I don't want to spend too much time on this intro today, but I wanted to dissect what I believe to be a growing issue in the collecting community. If you don't follow toys or action figure content, that's okay. I'll be sure to provide all the needed context to give you a cursory understanding of the issues I'm talking about. Now, I initially started drafting this script for a different set of individuals in this space, but I found that this most recent incident could be taken apart a bit easier and with less divergence in terms of scale and influence over time. And this video that we'll analyze today is sort of a microcosm of the larger issues at hand. The first 45 seconds of the video is a moment from the Unparalleled Universe.
Make a better figure. Like, no, it's the same, like, plastic. I don't know that it's different plastic, but it was put together thoughtfully, and I think it's good. Like, I don't know.
So, okay, let me ask you this.
I wouldn't be disingenuous to say that, oh, part of the reason what makes it a maximum or a deluxe is because it's like better plastic. Like, that's not really, we're not really saying that.
So how about this? If you're holding like the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Maximum series Spider-Man, do they feel different?
I want to say no.
Standard Marvel Legends and Maximum Marvel Legends use the same plastic? I'll take two!
Immediately following this is the image that you see here of a well-known figure, no pun intended, in this space named Shartimus Prime. I'll call him Russ from now on because, to be honest, that name is sort of ridiculous and Russ is his legal name. The purpose of this video isn't to get hung up on the actual figure or the price of anything. Instead, I want to take apart this individual's incessant need to promote the idea, subtly or otherwise, that people are shills for liking something. The word shill has been beaten to death in this space lately. But what's even more confusing to me is that Dusty has such a problem with how other adults spend their money. Not just because pocket watching in his grown and adult age is weird, but because it's quite obvious that he has several subscriptions hitting his credit card every month, considering the fact that the vast majority of the people on his following list on Instagram are OnlyFans models.
The stream was conducted by Odorous and Ryan Tang from the Hasbro marketing team. And as a dedicated Trollcast journalist, the Elite Legend caught the tail end of the stream.
Now, I'm not going to really bother to go over how often this guy calls people out of their names, but instead I'm going to focus upon the fact that he said he only caught the tail end of the stream, which in and of itself presents issues with everything that's going to come out of this guy's mouth for the rest of this video. By the way, as a brief aside, I just want to say that I'm just starting this channel myself, and I think I'm probably going to hit a few snags here and there. But Jesus Christ, this guy's audio sounds fucking awful. Immediately after this, he goes into an almost unintelligible diatribe. Dusty then takes issue with Wade's calm and, in his words,
plodding monotone,
which isn't atypical of Wade. He and Ryan have had several conversations before, and I can tell you with almost absolute certainty that Dusty and people like him would be making fun of Wade and others if they showed any legitimate excitement at one of the Hasbro reps sitting down with him.
In the absence of excitement, there was a very lively chat that was being completely ignored by individuals having the audacity to not fork up the cash for a super chat to have their voice heard.
And this is where the blatant lying begins. Dusty claims that the chat was being ignored, which is so provably false that it boggles me. And this clip from that same stream foundationally disproves this stupid-ass statement of his.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find some more questions that aren't super chats.
Mid-level executive guest, Mr. Tang, from the historic Tang Dynasty, if you will.
Now, I don't know why somebody would make this sort of joke in a video that's about toys and selling out, but I think that this racial dog whistle illustrates very well the kind of people that we're dealing with here.
So finally, Grizzly Adams Jr. took a non-super chat question.
A blatant lie that I just disproved, and that anyone with functional ears and the actual desire to have context could disprove as well. However, this guy and his ilk operate with a strict modus operandi. Their MO is to lie, obfuscate the points being made, and then lie some more.
Non-super chat question, and stunningly, Mr. Tang answered it. And it went something like this. have you ever like touched one of those imports? Have you ever touched one? Yeah, they're a little expensive on the second market, but maybe I could arrange for you to have one. Or have you ever like sat down and talked to the guys over at like Mayfex and Dos Equis and the cartel about imports? And Tank said basically that it's about stakeholders, safety, and a bunch of corporate BS that the Elite Legend learned in college.
Here is an example of another blatant falsehood. That's not how that conversation happened at all. Ryan explicitly mentioned stakeholders in reference to the age grade of a product and how it differs with Marvel Legends as opposed to a company like Mayfex who has a higher age grade. While it's commonly known that Legends are bought by adults, it is not explicitly an adult-only line like Mayfex, who clearly states on their boxes, adult collectibles and not a toy. In fact, here's a photo of the bottom of my Daredevil box for context.
Even put on the box too. So if it's not as simple as just putting a 1 in front of the age grade 4+. Oh, now it's magically 14+. We can do all these changes. It's like not as easy when you've got these just big manufacturing standards for big companies that have a lot of other stakeholders. I would say.
And then you put up that age grade. You're basically even if we sit here and say little kids don't buy them, whatever, you're making it impossible for them to buy them if you like put that number on there.
And said that there will be no difference in the paint and plastic on the brand new Maximum Profit Spider-Man. So basically, you're going to be paying $60 after shipping for a standard Marvel Legends with a few extra accessories.
Like I said earlier, the purpose of this video isn't to get caught up in the minutia of whether the figure is worth it or not, but to say that the Maximum Spider-Man is just a standard Marvel Legends with a few extra accessories is almost as ignorant as everything else this clown says. Here are a few new upcoming Legends. And here's the Maximum Spider-Man in question.
Pootie Tang even went far enough to channel Gangster Dan by saying, yo, we ain't Papa John's, son. You ain't getting better quality for the higher price of pizza.
For added context, Dan Yoon is another member of the marketing team for Hasbro's Marvel license, and has also made appearances on Wade's streams before. And for now, I will try my best to ignore that very terrible New York accent you just tried to do. That came off more of a black accent than anything.
It's mating session. Tang started even teasing. He went as far to say that, you know, maybe I can take one of those little samples, put a Renew Your Vows Spider-Man in my pocket as well, and I could take it over with me to Toy Fair, and maybe let somebody do a little comparison video. And Sasquatch went, "You dirty whore! I used to be the guy that does the reviews. How are you gonna let some nobody go out there and do that?" Ryan Tang was like, "Look, man, that was then. This is now. We gave you cab fare and directions. Stay your ass over on the West Coast."
Editor Swampy here. I want to apologize for the audio in this section of the video, but I'm recording it on a different device. Anyway, I don't really get to the concise point that I'm trying to make in these next couple lines of dialogue, so I figured I'd take that time right now. But what my issue isn't necessarily that Dusty is blatantly lying, but instead what he's doing is framing this interaction in the entire wrong context. Wade's jokes can come off a little weird sometimes because he has a very unique sense of humor, and if you don't tune into the streams on Tuesdays and Fridays, I don't blame you for that. However, Ryan obviously laughs at what Wade says because they have had so many different interactions on so many different occasions that Ryan understands Wade's humor. So like I said earlier, it's not necessarily that Dusty is lying here, but he is framing this in the entire wrong context.
Okay,
maybe I'll try to find one and bring it with me in my pocket at New York Toy Fair. So if we want to bust out, if someone wants to shoot a comparison video, maybe they could do that. That's
a fucking
idea.
Ryan, that's fucked up. Because well, I suck now, but I used to be like the comparison guy. Okay, you're gonna give one of these goddamn nobodies at Toy Fair a chance to compare these figures when I'm sitting over here.
Nobody. Hey, East Coast. I'm on the East. I'm from the East Coast. We gotta.
All right, Lucius.
I want to take a second to highlight the image in this section of the video here. He has a photo of Boog, another prominent member of the toy community, in front of a Pan-African flag with the phrase Black Excellent on it, as well as a Hasbro logo in the upper left-hand corner. This photo is clearly edited. Boog has said the term black excellence before many times, and in fact it's a sentiment that I share as well, being a black man myself. However, it should be clear to anyone watching this that this man is racially dog whistling to his audience. Next to the image of Boog is a comment he left on this degenerate's comment section, where Boog highlights that he doesn't really use his figures in the way that most people in this community do, and that the majority of his content on his channel is off the backs of other people in this space, which is hilarious given the fact that Dusty is proving his point.
And the Elite Legend is going to be here to chronicle it and laugh at you as you spend money unnecessarily and kill the Marvel Legends line. And Wadricus, thank you so much, Mr. Pootie Tang. Thank you, the viewers, for listening, even the sheep.
This is a statement that I really wanted to dissect as well. The term sheep here is hilarious to me. If it isn't apparent to most people by now, it's obvious that this guy and people like him are pseudo-grifters. They use this term shill and terms like sheep to sell you this idea that you're being manipulated to buy something that's totally optional, as if their opinions are going to free you from the Matrix. These people thrive on farming hate clicks and creating rage bait. He has no creative way to profit from these topics aside from farming hate and generating discussions based on commiserating about things he doesn't have to buy in the first place. Dusty and people like him like to bitch and whine on the internet in the hopes that they'll find other people who like to bitch and whine on the internet. It is a bitch-made behavior, and its first world issues manifest.
No, the Elite Legend is not trying to impersonate Shartimus Prime. The Elite Legend is not trying to emulate Shartimus Prime. The Elite Legend wants to maybe expose Shartimus Prime for being a shameless shill, but hey, everybody's got to make a living.
This speaks to me as someone who is deeply envious of Russ and his success on YouTube. This man clearly wants to be the people that he's talking about. Now, to wrap this whole thing up, I hope I've outlined well the issues and the dangers of people like this goofy-ass moron. These people will lie, manipulate points, or even in some cases, make shit up that never happened. Media literacy is dying in our current era. It is important to make sure that when you're being critical of something, that it's coming from a space of constructive thought or a wish and a want for better media or product. But using constructive thought and the want of better product as a thin-veiled attempt to bitch and moan while calling people out of their names and making awful room-temperature IQ jokes that only you laughed at are reductive in nature and serve nothing but to line your pockets with money attained from hate farming. I'll be writing out a script and getting another episode in this series out as soon as possible, but I am a working man and I have a family, so it may take some time. Love yourselves and each other. See you on the next one.